What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 82. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Brett Murdoch.
Dark Souls.
And joining us on the road, Mr. Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How you doing?
All right, no Brian again. I'm guessing he's, like, watching Civil War for, like, the millionth time. Because, you know, they get it in fucking England a lot earlier. I don't understand why they do that, by the way. Like, has there been any explanation for why that is? Why does, like, UK get it earlier than, like, everybody else?
Their
Like,
excuse was piracy.
Yeah, it has to do with piracy.
really, why not just release it worldwide, then?
Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
still,
if you want to prevent piracy, how about not letting a specific region get it first?
But the thing is that a region will get it first, no matter what.
Yeah, so, I mean, who's going to stop the UK from bootlegging it? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why not just release it worldwide? Like, the same date.
Again, if it's released on the same date, it's also the same. It's also the same thing that happens, where it's like, okay, it's like slightly above one day slightly behind. So one place is always going to get it first.
Yeah, but, I mean, one place is getting it first regardless, just 2 weeks earlier. So they're giving pirates 2 weeks to pirate shit.
I also think maybe piracy might be a little bit higher in the United States.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, we got a ton of questions here, so let's get right into it. Him Deal starts us off this week. He goes, why hasn't Sony released an upgraded DualShock 4 yet, or an Elite DualShock 4? I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, if any controller needs an upgrade, it's the DualShock 4. The fucking rubber on the D-pad is always fucked up. I heard the R2 button eventually gives out. That controller needs a fucking upgrade. I don't know why they haven't done it yet. Probably because they don't need to, considering how well the PS4 is selling, but that's my guess. They just don't need to, but they really should.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you guys say?
Yeah, I agree. Add a removable battery while you're at it or something.
Yeah, geez, man. And the ability to turn off that fucking light would be nice, too.
Yes, does not dim it, just turn it off. Like, I don't have a PlayStation camera right now. I really don't need this light on.
Yeah, it's stupid.
The dimming is nice. It's a good start, but can we just turn it off? Because that'd be good, too.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I think that's pretty much all we need to say about that one. Sony, do it. Do it now. Right. Next question. Do you expect the current PlayStation 4, Xbox One to get a price drop at E3? Why or why not? I say they will get a price drop announced if they also announce the successor consoles, you know, or because they're not successor, they're just the upgraded versions of the current consoles. That's when we get a price drop. But right now, they've both already gotten price drops, so I don't really see that happening at E3 unless they announce the other consoles coming. You know, what the hell's that noise coming from? By the way, I think that was you, Brett.
Me?
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. There it is again.
Oh, apparently my whole headset makes sounds if I move my earpiece. That's fun to know.
Okay, good to know. So yeah, that's my guess. We will hear a price drop if they announce these other consoles. If they don't, then we won't hear any price drops at all. What do you guys say?
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's going to be Xbox One Slim, or whatever the hell they're going to call it, then they're going to do a price drop. And the same thing, if they go, oh, PlayStation 4 Neo, here it comes, and then they're going to drop the price of this one to try to move stock. So, yeah. If they don't say anything, then I wouldn't count on a price drop. Sony doesn't need to do a price drop right now, unless the Neo is happening for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one. Brett, what do you say?
I pretty much agree with that.
Manny? I think he's gone.
I agree.
Right. A lot of agreements going on tonight.
And Brian's here.
Oh, there he is, Brian!
No, okay. It took you slightly longer than usual to notice that I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, I agree. I don't. It would make sense that they would announce like a price drop if they're going to announce these new machines at E3. So, yeah. But then at the same time, who in the right mind, like, assuming that these new versions are like reasonably priced, so let's say 400, who in the right mind would buy a PS4 when they've just announced, hey, this console's better than the PS4, play your PS4 games better, and it's reasonably priced?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like,
You
who would
know,
buy a PS4?
I mean, why not just wait for the new console to come out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know
Actually,
how people
well,
are. They're
yeah.
ignorant. They won't. There are a lot of people that don't even know about the fucking Neo, right? They'll go to a store, see a $250 PlayStation, and buy it without even knowing what's up.
Yeah, that's it.
So you got to consider that too. Not everybody's in the know.
Exactly.
You know, like for example, when I was at PAX East, right, outside of like journalists and my circle, none of the attendees even knew about the PS4 Neo. They had no idea.
Damn.
No one was even talking about it. So that lets you know. Right. Hey Brian, what about the first question? Why hasn't Sony released an upgraded DualShock 4 yet? We all pretty much said just make it already. God damn it.
Why?
Yeah. Why?
I have no idea why. It definitely needs an upgrade because I, like you guys, have run into the same problem where the plastic rubber thing has like worn off the DualShocks. It's more so on the right one than the left one, so I don't know why they haven't sorted out this problem yet. But yeah, I don't know why they haven't.
Yeah.
Probably because cost reasons, or they don't care,
Yeah.
or they
I
think
said.
it's
I
okay.
said they don't need to. Like they feel they don't need to. It's like, yeah, our system's selling fine. What the fuck do we need to do that for? They feel that way, even though everybody's like, do it, god damn it. This controller sucks.
Uh, okay, the main thing that I would definitely like sort out, or quote unquote sort out or upgrade, is the quality of the rubber on the pads and
Yeah.
the battery life. Those two things are by far some of the two most frustrating things because like I've had my PS4 for just over a year now, and I don't use it as often as you guys do. And even then, like after a year's worth of moderate to light use, I mean, I went back and platinum some PS3 games for fuck's sake, and yeah, it's just worn down, and that's pretty unacceptable to be fair. Like it makes sense if I was like using it like hardcore, like day to day type thing, but I'm not. So yeah, that's definitely something that they should upgrade if they ever do choose to upgrade or
Yeah,
have an
man.
upgradable one.
Definitely. All right. And the last
Am
question
I
here.
am I the only one who hasn't had a problem with their PlayStation controller? I mean, I know I bought the rubber thumb pads, and that's the thing like everybody's complaining about. But I mean,
Hey, Brett, what am I seeing on your camera right now?
my ceiling maybe?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
Yeah.
there's like a red light
Yeah,
and
yeah, red light.
black
Yeah,
space.
that'd be my ceiling.
And, oh, there's the top of your head. There you are. Hey, Brett, we see you.
Hey everybody.
Um, I think Manny hasn't had his fuck up too much. I think actually he's a pretty
No,
light user.
mine is good. Mine is perfectly fine.
Okay, so yeah, no, me, I about a year after it, I completely destroyed it. You know. All right, moving on. Last question. This is a funny one. What do you guys think about the Gears of War 4 beta? The only two of us that would be qualified to answer this is me and Chris, and neither of us have played it because Dark Souls 3. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Dark Souls.
That's my answer. I ain't got time for that, man.
Ain't got time for
Dark
that,
Souls.
man. I ain't got time for that. You know, and the thing is, like, it's a multiplayer beta. Who the fuck cares? I want to play like the real game. You know?
Yeah, give me a segment of story, man.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about a multiplayer beta. You know, whatever.
Who's
Right.
who's playing Marcus Phoenix's son? I hope it's the same guy.
Nah, it's probably some new dude because he's younger. He's not like. Oh yeah.
Hey, haven't movies and TV taught us anything? You sound and look exactly like your father.
Yeah, they haven't learned this in video games apparently. All right. So moving on here. Next up, Ikagu Raven. I think he may be a first timer. So thank you, Ikagu Raven, for dropping in some questions. All right. He goes off with okay, this is an interesting one. What is the game that you instantly became what is the game that instantly became better when you started playing it differently? Very kind of open-ended question. So basically, you start playing a game one way, you play it a different way, and now you suddenly like it.
I can give the low-hanging fruit answer.
Okay, which is?
Dark Souls.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, man. I've talked a couple times about how I played Demon Souls, or I tried to play Demon Souls, and I didn't have the internet, and it didn't key in with me. And then I bought Dark Souls, and I tried to play it, and I didn't click with me. And it was something about, and I'm not the only one. I read these posts all the time. I think I sent one to you about people picking up the game and playing it and trying it, and they just don't get it, and it frustrates them, and it makes them angry, and then finally they sit down and they beat a boss, and something clicks because they've approached the game a slightly different way, and all of a sudden everything makes sense. They're like, my god, this game is amazing. Like that would probably be the best example that I can give, because a lot of people play the game wrong, and then they play the game right, and there's this kind of noticeable, almost audible click that happens, at least in a Souls player, when that moment happens. And I think we've all experienced it.
Yeah,
I think that's true for Tony, because I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah,
started
yeah.
playing it differently.
Yeah, definitely, because I played Demon Souls. I didn't like it at all, right? I played Bloodborne. I really liked that. Then I went to play Dark Souls. See, I'm like, I don't know about this. This kind of feels like Demon Souls, all slow and shit. But then when I got into that mindset, like, Tony, take shit slow, be very deliberate, it clicked, and definitely, I liked it more than, because if you guys heard the evolution of the show, I played the first hour or two, I'm like, this is cool. Then I was like, I don't know about this game. And now I'm like, okay, this game's cool, and it's all about how you approach it and stuff. But I wish I could bring up others. The thing is, I usually play games a specific way. I don't really change the way I play games. Like every time I play like a hack and slash game or a game to have hack and slash mechanics, I use the same combo in every game because they all work. I don't really, if I find something that works, I stick with it. I don't really change my approach to things. So it's a little bit.
Well,
of a hard question. Yeah.
I feel like most games today actually pander towards the player. And that's kind of why I bring up Dark Souls, because it's a little bit opposite. Dark Souls is like, no, you learn to play the game my way. You get good. And that's that's kind of where the whole saying comes. Most other games are like, like Skyrim, like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do in Fallout? Do you want to sneak? Do you want to punch stuff in the face? Do you want to snipe people? Sure, we'll let you play however you want. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when you say it gives the player choice. But most games you don't have to learn to play your way. Most games will let you play. Or most games you don't have to learn to play their way. They'll let you play yours.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan. Like, let me do what I want.
Generally, I am, which is kind of weird. Why I'm so happy when like I get punished by a video. The game's like, "Fuck you! You're doing it my way." I'm like, "Okay, yes, thank you."
God damn it! I think Game of Thrones shit just got ruined for me. God damn it!
Uh-oh.
I hate the internet. Anyway,
Why are you on the internet when you're recording the show? Just turn that stuff off.
Because I have to look at Twitter for shit too. God damn it! Anyway, Brian, what do you say about this? Any game that you liked, after you decided to play it differently?
Witcher 3. Like, I hit like a brick wall like 5 hours in, where I was not enjoying the game, and I'll be brutally fair with you guys. Like, I was thinking about saying to myself, like, yeah, this game I'll never finish. It's just not that great. But then, after like hours 6 and 7, that's when the combat, it literally just clicked, and then I started to understand just how it works. And like after you start to understand like how it works, then you just like it literally just felt like a door had opened in like this wide open expansive field, and you just had free reign just to wreck shit up. Because I was like doing all types of like fancy combos, like hit twice, hit 3 times, do like a sidestep, hit them with some magic, stun them for a bit. Go in for like a heavy attack in the back because that does more damage with like a big sword, and after it was really weird because it literally just felt exactly what Brett has described here. It's like it just clicked, and then you start to understand like how the game is meant to be played, and then once you get that moment going, then you just go. Because I, like Tony, have been playing like most games the same way: square, triangle. That stuff works.
Basically,
yeah. It's like, okay, this game is like God of War. Cool. Square, triangle. That's all I need to know. It doesn't matter what game it is. Square, triangle. It's like, oh, we have all these cool combos. No. Square, triangle. That's it.
Brian, you're missing one. Square, triangle, dodge. Square, triangle, dodge. As needed.
Yeah.
Switch it up a little bit, but it's basically that. Mine's is usually square, triangle. That's my usual one. Dodge, then come back in. And it's always the same speed too. I don't like how we got it where you could actually hit one, wait, and then hit another one. Nope, I always do it the exact same speed every single time with every game. I was like, why should I change it? I know Riku said that's probably the reason I don't enjoy hack and slash games. He's like, you're not trying any of the combos. I'm like, why do I need to try any of the combos when I could just do one thing that works all the time? I'm all about efficiency here.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, for me, I always switch around my controls depending on what I'm playing. Even with Metal Gear games, like, and I try not to, I try to play a little bit amorphous and figure out what I need to do. That's why when I first started playing Bloodborne and stuff like that, I was just like, all right, cool, I'll just deal with the way this thing is telling me to kind of play.
Yeah, Manny, since you're talking, what game did that for you? Like you played it a certain way and it didn't work. Then you tried something else and like, oh yeah, this works for me now.
For me, again, I kind of switch up my play style a lot. So it depends on what the game is. I'll try the tried and true, and then I'll keep changing it around. It's kind of about what I do normally, as opposed to kind of just like saying, oh, okay, now I have to do this. It's like, okay, I'll try it for a little bit. I don't know. It never. The experiences usually stay the same for me.
All right, Chris.
I have a slightly different answer, and it's Street Fighter, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Street Fighter is a game where you really have to find out what type of character you like to use. And I guess this goes for most fighting games, but for me, I couldn't play charged characters too well, and I remember when I started playing Street Fighter 2, everybody was telling me, just use Guile, right? And I could not get his timings down when I fought somebody who especially was good, like a good Ryu player. It's like, man, I can't time these sonic booms or his jackknives or anything properly. But then when I started using Ken, who was pretty similar to Ryu, everything gelled for me, right? Like the quarter circle moves, instant, like throwing slow and fast fireballs and all that stuff. That really worked for me, and I've been a Ken player ever since then, right? So that's a game where you have to figure out what your playstyle is, especially now. Like, fighting games have gotten far more complex than back in the 90s, so you have to figure out like combos and mix-ins and all this stuff, but you have to figure out what your playstyle is, right? And I think Street Fighter kind of started that, accommodating you in certain play balancing, what your style is. Like, do you want to like be patient and wait and charge, like using Balrog or Guile, or you're a type of guy who wants to go offensive, and then you'd use someone like Ken or Akuma or something like that,
That's a good answer. I like that one. I could actually go off on a little bit of a story about Street Fighter, but we ain't got time for that right now. But basically, just to keep it short, it's funny because my main characters are like Ryu and Ken or whatever, right? But I actually played with guys like Guile and charge characters more because I know I was really really good with the Shoto characters. I'm like, okay, let me pick a charge character, just so I don't like wear it out and stuff, And I got really really good with guys like Guile and Charlie. Charlie was my dude, But yeah, but again, with Street Fighter, man, I was never one of those guys. As a matter of fact, actually, I will derail a little bit because last generation, people were like, when Street Fighter 4 was coming out, like, oh, who's your main? Who's your main? I'm like, what do you mean a main? like who's the guy that you only use? I'm like, I use everybody, dude. Like I prefer Ryu and stuff, but I play with everybody, so that's always been a weird thing for me because I'm like, I have 16 characters here. Why wouldn't I try to like get good with every last one of them? Like, maybe that won't make me a master of one character, but I prefer to be good with all of them. You know what I'm saying? Even if I do have my preferences, like I'm not using Zangief as much or Dhalsim as much, but I want to be at least good with them.
Yeah, I hear that.
All right, moving on here. PS Plus and Xbox Live are presented as optional services, but do you think as a teen or an adult that it's possible to enjoy owning a PS4 or Xbox One without these services? Great question. And I like how he specifically said teen and adult because, yeah, if you're a little kid, you don't give a shit, I have my answer, but I'll let you guys go first.
No, I think less so in this generation than last gen, but with Xbox, yeah, you're gonna miss out on a lot of stuff just going silver, right? Like, you can't do a lot of shit without having a gold account, especially playing multiplayer. Like, on both systems now, that's out of the question. And I think on PlayStation, right, most of the server, even the video services won't work without you having your PSN hooked up. So, yeah, it's really restrictive. I honestly don't see how, especially now, you could enjoy the console without them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're like a strictly single player only guy, then you could get away with those services. But even if you want to use Netflix, you need to have that shit. If you want to talk to your buddies, you got to have that shit. I believe. There's a lot of shit you can't do without it, and I don't see, because I know people are complain about like, oh, why are you paying for these servers? I'm like, because it would be a really gimped service if I didn't pay for this shit. So yeah, I don't really. Again, outside of like a person that's just strictly single player, doesn't even care about DLCs, I don't know how you get along. So I'm gonna go with no. The services would not work. I mean, the experience would just be hampered without those services.
Yeah, pretty much. You kind of need online at this point.
Yeah, you don't have a choice really. I mean, I know there's some holdouts out there. Even a guy like me, like I mostly just play my games single player. But you know what? I like to have that. I like people to know that I'm online in case they want to chat with me or something.
Yeah.
You never know. Manny, what do you say?
Let's see. What was the question again? Sorry.
Basically, do you think could you basically enjoy PlayStation and Xbox without having PS Plus and Xbox Live?
Like nowadays?
Yeah.
No. I would say in PS3 era, yeah, it would be a little bit easier because just because some of the features aren't locked.
Yeah. Yeah, just like we said, it's like if you want to watch Netflix on your PS4, too bad.
Is it locked behind that? I can't remember.
Yeah, I believe so.
No,
I
I
thought
thought
it
it
was
was
locked behind like a standard PlayStation Network account, not a
No,
PlayStation
it's
Plus
Oh,
account.
really?
Yeah, you could run Netflix. You could always run Netflix without having a PS Plus
Okay,
account.
then
That was
Yeah, the one that was
Xbox
locked
then.
was Xbox.
that was
yeah.
Okay,
Xbox that
that's
had
Xbox then. My bad.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still, I would love to hear from somebody who does not have either or has one of the consoles and doesn't pay for it, like what the experience is. Because I know when I let my Xbox Live Gold slip for a couple of months, like I went to play a couple of things I had, and it was like, nope, you don't have your Gold account anymore. I had gotten the games with Gold; those were locked out. I couldn't do a few other things, and I was just annoyed. So when I had the money, I was like, all right, I'll get back in there.
Yeah. It's weird. We got to talk to those people. Brian, what do you say?
I'm just trying to like run down the list of stuff that's locked behind PlayStation Plus, and bar the video services, which I'm not too sure on since I don't use them, and I probably don't have the same that the US one does have. I I don't think the experience will be all that much different because bar the obvious of online play. I'm not too sure about party chat if that's like if you have to have a PlayStation Plus account to use it. I'm not too sure. Because I still know that all the free-to-play games will still be accessible since I am fairly certain that they said that the free-to-play games you don't need a PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live account to use them.
Yeah, but
I'm more certain
if,
on the
yeah,
PlayStation side than the Xbox side. So
yeah, but I mean, if you're trying to play like something like Overwatch or Paragon or something,
yeah,
yeah,
all the
you're screwed.
multiplayer-only games you are definitely screwed. But you can still get away with a lot of single-player titles. Yeah, so it wouldn't be all that bad, but it'd still be. Again, it depends whether or not party chat is locked behind it. If it is, then yeah, you'll be missing out on like a whole lot because, again, the PS4 without party chat is pretty much less interesting PS4. No, yeah. So I think that's one of the things, and I'm pretty sure that Xbox is the same. Like you need Xbox Live for the chat. Don't quote me because I don't know, but I'm just assuming. But yeah, it would be pretty damn shit to be fair. Well, okay,
Yeah,
think about
it's
it.
true.
It's essentially your PlayStation is just cut off from the whole world at that point.
Basically, just
Yeah,
like it
like-
was back in 2011, right?
Yeah, it's like you can't chat to anyone, you can't play with other people apart from the free-to-play games, and that's about it. So you're kind of limited.
Yeah, basically. All right. The last question by Mr. Ikagu or Mrs. I don't know. Okay, probably a guy though. Come on, let's just be real. No women listen to this fucking show.
Kristen listens to the show.
Oh, that's true. Hello, Kristen. All right. Where do you draw the line where? Okay, where do you draw the line where "quote unquote" graphics don't matter? Great question. I liked your questions, man. Okay, so where do you draw the line where you're like, okay, this game looks like fucking shit. I'm not playing this.
I don't know. It just depends on the game. I mean, I didn't turn up my nose at like Shovel Knight or anything. It's like the 16-bit throwback, and it's great. But I didn't go, oh, this looks like it came out of 1995. I ain't playing this. You know, it was still a good game, and a lot of people like Undertale, and I looked at Undertale. I'm like, wow, this looks like garbage, but people love that game, right? You know, so it just depends on the game itself, right? I don't where I'd expect like the next Halo to be like the most stunning first-person shooter I'd see. Like I expect it to look good, right? I expect it to look quality, but for a game like if you're gonna tell me like I can get a classic JRPG experience or whatever from a 16-bit game, I'm not gonna expect too much. I'm not really gonna care, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
depends.
my general thing is like I don't really give a shit. Like I don't. Yeah, it's like okay, even because the thing is like let's say if it's a modern game that looks like a PS2 game, then I may say something. But if it plays really well, then it'll negate all that. I'm still like I'll still willingly go back to play old games, even Final Fantasy VII, which looks like fucking shit now, and still enjoy it. This shit, come on, Brett, you know I'm right.
No, yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah, it looks like ass. I'm sorry, people. It look like ass, but you know what? It still holds up gameplay-wise, right? So, yeah, in general, I'm going to say there isn't, unless, like, okay, this is the only way I could think of, right? If it's, like, a technical fuck-up, like, they just have these muddy-ass textures, like, the game just looks fucking ugly, like, then I may have to draw the line, but then again, if it plays really well, then that may negate it. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna just err on the side of I don't really give a shit if the game plays good and whatever. But yeah, there may be someone who's like, man, I wish I looked better, but I wouldn't necessarily. I play some really shitty looking games, people, so I don't care. But I know for some people they care. It's like, oh, that looks like a PS3 game. I'm not playing this. Give me my gray poop on. These fucking assholes. Like they're offended. Oh, how dare you? PlayStation 3 graphics. Terrible. Anyway, Brett, what do you say, Ben?
I would say just when it stops being fun. Like I played Minecraft and I was like, why the hell am I playing this? This game looks awful, but like it was fun in spite of it looking awful. So it doesn't even have to be games that I used to love and go back to play. There are games that I pick up for the first time, like this looks like a hot pile of garbage. Oh, it turns out it's a really fun game. So I don't know. I guess if a game starts looking so bad that I'm like, man, it's just ruining the experience. But I don't know. I guess it depends on what the game's trying to represent.
You know what, dude? I need to jump on what you said about Minecraft. Because the thing that's keeping me from playing Minecraft aren't the graphics. I actually think the graphics are pretty cool, despite the fact they're meant to look shitty. It's just I don't like those, like, hey, do whatever you want type of games. Like, can I get a direction here? So, yeah, even a game as shitty looking as Minecraft, I would play shit like that, if it's done within the proper confines and stuff. Like, hey, here's a JRPG with fucking Minecraft graphics. Let's go. Here's an action-adventure game with Minecraft graphics. Let's go. That might even be fun. Remember 3D Game Heroes? It was all pixelated.
Yes, that game was awesome.
Shit. Yes, man. So yeah. Graphic stuff don't bother me too much. Chris, did you go?
Yeah, I remember I just said Undertale looked like garbage, but it's probably a fun game.
I was busy saying hi to Kristen on Twitter too. Brian, actually, no. We'll save the PC Master Race for last. Manny, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm of the same thing. It doesn't matter what the graphics of a game looks like. It's just, as long as it plays pretty good, I mean, I think I played this one game was called Thomas Was Alone, where you're just literally a red dot or a blue dot,
Yes.
So as long as the gameplay is there, I think there's something there to be found. I mean, here's the thing: like, there are those games that kind of try to make realistic-looking graphics, and then they kind of fail at it. But even those can kind of have, if the gameplay is there, you can still kind of forgive it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, a lot of people say that the Fallout games don't look that great, but the thing is that look at how much you can kind of do in a Fallout game. You know.
Yeah. All right, Brian, what do you say?
Yeah, I kind of mostly agree with what you guys are saying, to be fair. Like, at a certain point, like, the way a game looks just doesn't mean that much. However, there's the issue of making a game look good, but not in the good in the context of, oh, look, it's shiny. Because then, like, years after, like, shiny games just become outdated and they start to, like, lose, like, their appeal. Because if all your game has going for it is that it looks good, then like 5 years down the line, no one will remember it. Like take Shadows of the Colossus, like it didn't look all that great when it first came out, but yet people still remember that game, and it mostly holds up these days. And another one is GTA San Andreas. Like that game does not look all that great, but yet it still holds up relatively well, to be fair. So I guess
it didn't look that great when it came out. You know, people loved it.
That's what I mean. It didn't look all that at all, to be fair, but yet it's still like one of those games that people remember. And it's like most times people won't remember a game for its graphics. People will remember it for its story or its gameplay. You know, like out of all the games that you can remember, like over the last like 20 years, how many of them do you remember like purely because it looked great?
Yeah, you mean purely 100%? Yeah, that's a hard one, you know, because
so, like even I'm just like, yeah, there's a lot of games that I remember, but none of them looked all that amazing.
Yeah, because that's not really what you focus on at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Finally, we get to final stage boss. First question. I've never owned an Xbox console, but always heard that Xbox Live is so much more reliable than PSN. Tony, now that you have an Xbox One, do you think Xbox Live is so much more stable than PSN, or is that just a myth? I'm going to answer my part. I'm going to send the other part over to Chris because he's had both. Yeah, Xbox Live is not any better, you know, than PlayStation now. Well, PlayStation Network at all. Like there's some things it does better. There are some things it doesn't do as good. Like I think it does the searches a lot better than PlayStation. PlayStation is still a fucking mess. Like I can't even search for games. Like to search for Neo took me almost 10 minutes. I finally found it. You know, like I'm like, Tony, just go online and go to the PlayStation store online. It's easier that way. It's just a fucking mess trying to find anything there. But like both of them, yeah, they're both the same. Like as far as stability goes, they're both the same. I don't notice any differences. Like I don't notice that one is infinitely better than the other one. You know, yeah, like I can't really. You know, I don't know if Final Stage Boss, if you wanted me to say PlayStation Network is better, I can't say that. But I will say they're equal, at least as far as Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are concerned. I don't notice any differences there. But Chris, you had Xbox 360 and PS3 back in the day, and apparently back in those days there was a big difference. So what can you tell me about that?
Well, I'd say like Microsoft definitely had their stuff together earlier than Sony did, because the Xbox store and the going online on the 360 and going in the store and shopping was seamless and smooth, whereas in the beginning of PS3, man, it was clunky. You had to go on that website. Like, it definitely was well thought out from the beginning, right? So I give it that. As far as stability is concerned, yeah, I say that Sony had some missteps, but they didn't have the experience that Microsoft had, and they didn't set things up right. But they came into their own and actually grew the network, and it is pretty solid right now where I can't tell the difference. I couldn't say one is more stable than the other, or one is providing something that the other is not, like shining in one area than another. I think Sony's biggest misstep, the one thing that everyone will remember, is the credit card hack that happened.
Yeah.
So their security definitely, they were failing on that end, and that's something that Microsoft has luckily not had happened. That they have good security. So that was one fear that everyone had after that happened to Sony, was the mistrust of handling of credit cards and things like that. So I think that's the biggest misstep Sony had. As far as now, I can't really tell the difference between the two. They're both pretty seamless. They both had their ups and downs. I mean, they both got hacked I think last Christmas or the
Mhm.
Christmas before that, they both
Just
went
before
down.
that. Yep.
So in the same, they seem to be attacked pretty much as equally. If they go down, they both go down. Sony has had more maintenance periods growing the network on PS4, but that's because PS4 kind of exploded. So they've had to like. I remember early on they had to do a lot of maintenance and stuff to pick things up, but they've definitely hit their stride, and now they're both very solid right now.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on here. I've noticed that Microsoft stopped saying that the Xbox One is selling faster and or better than the 360 in the same time frame. Does that mean it's selling worse than the 360 now? I don't know. Like, have they stopped saying that? Like, in the NPDs? I guess that's what he's talking about. Like, they just don't mention that anymore. Even if they dropped off by a month or two, it's still selling better than the Xbox 360. So I don't think there's any kind of big conspiracy here, you know? What do you guys say?
Yeah, I agree. Just because they don't say, but they're using a lot of other metrics now to measure the gameplay. I know it's a lot of like online hours played and stuff like that. They keep throwing in all these values that really don't mean anything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we're just too far along in this generation to keep comparing it to the last one. You know, that's probably why.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
that's my thoughts exactly.
Yeah, basically. Manny?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. This is another funny one. Last one too. When Titanfall was announced, it was one of the most hyped games in history. I don't know about history, but it was pretty hyped. Titanfall 2 has been announced to little fanfare. Why isn't Titanfall 2 getting the same hype as the first game?
Because everybody realized it wasn't as good as the hype.
That's what it was. You know, that's
That was-
basically that's the answer right there. Because they played the first game. That's why.
Ooh.
I was just about to give Tony the Assassin's Creed analogy. Where it's like, yeah, Tony, why didn't Syndicate like sell well, or why didn't Syndicate do that well?
Yeah, because of Unity. That's why. Let's
Yeah.
just be real here. Syndicate was a great game, but people weren't buying it because of the bad taste they had in their mouth after Unity. Same thing here. People were like, Titanfall 2. Titanfall 1 was kind of shitty. Why do I want to go through that again? You know? So, there you go.
Yeah, and that goes to show why you shouldn't really overhype or just hype games, because if they're good, then they're good. But then if they turn out to be not that great, then they fall from grace like crazy, like Watch Dogs. Like
Oh,
Watch Dogs,
man.
like didn't they like announce Watch Dogs 2, or like isn't there like a strong rumor saying that
Yeah,
they'll
for
be?
some... Yeah, it's not even a
But yeah,
rumor. It's more or less
people just
confirmed. Yeah, it's like, why?
yeah, and yeah, the whole thing is just like everyone's just saying why.
Yeah, it's like, Titanfall 2 really, like, now it's going to come to PS4 again. Who cares? You know? Really, who gives a shit?
If
I also-
Titanfall 1 was good, then there'd be something like to talk about. But no.
Yeah, and now they're like, oh, we're going to have a single-player story. Yeah, maybe you should have had one in the first game. How about that?
Yeah, that would have helped.
Oh, what's that? You're doing the thing you're supposed to do? Well, let us all applaud you for doing your fucking job.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, exactly.
Same thing. If they announce another Evolve, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah,
Watch.
really Evolve 2, no one cared the first time. Oh, you're adding a story now. Slow clap, you know? No one gives a shit. All right, let's move on here. The Dude, he goes, hello, guys. Long-time listener, but never had the time to actually devote some questions for you all, but I would like to ask them now. Welcome, The Dude. I'm guessing you like The Big Lebowski. All right.
I'm the dude.
All right. His first question here. What do you guys think about? Excuse me. Let me rewind this. What does Chris think about Nintendo only having one fucking game available to demo at E3 this year, which is The Legend of Zelda? Do they even need to be there anymore? No. Come on, man. Okay, Chris. I'm sorry, but I gotta take over. Nintendo is so full of shit. It's like you're only gonna have fucking Zelda at E3, right? Then why even be there? It's like, well, how about this? Okay, Nintendo said we're gonna announce NX plans in 2016. Why not do it during the biggest fucking like gaming event of the year? No, because that would make too much fucking sense.
Because they have to announce their plans to announce their plans.
Stupid. Go ahead, Chris.
That shows just the lack of confidence that they have in themselves. There's several puzzling things about this. Like, you have Zelda playable, but you are obviously delaying it to launch on the NX, which is just pathetic. So I don't know how you're going to instill anyone's confidence by having a Wii U playable demo of a game that was supposed to launch a year ago, and it's going to launch now next year, but whenever the NX launches, because you're going to launch that shit on the Wii U before the NX. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous. Also, you're going to write out your holiday leading on Pokemon once again, and you're not going to have that playable at E3, even though that's going to be your holiday title? Insane. So, I mean, I agree with him. Like, why even show up? Like, what you should just do your pathetic stream during E3 and let the big boys have the show and just be on your way.
Yeah, it's like you don't even get a C for effort. Just stay home. You know, if that's all you're bringing to the table, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know, what else? What do you guys say about Nintendo and E3 and all this nonsense?
They keep trying to separate themselves into being their own thing, and it's like you're not that fucking special, Nintendo. Like you're just not. Like they keep acting like they're still on top of their game, and they're not. And I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. Like, do you just think if you fake it long enough that people will believe it? Is that what?
Yeah. I think Nintendo honestly believes it. That's how much hubris they have, you know. They still think they're top dog. It's like, hey, people will love what we have because we're Nintendo. Where else are they gonna get this stuff? It's like, dude, no one cares about getting that stuff elsewhere. No one gives a shit.
Seriously.
I wonder if Nintendo's gonna have the same size booth as they did. They could just go with half
for one game, you know.
One game.
Well, who knows? Like, it's just all gonna come out at E3. If you go there and it's like a pathetic experience, you don't think everyone is gonna be talking about that? Like, that's something they can ignore because they seem to be ignoring reality, but that's not something that gamers ignore.
Exactly. Nintendo. Manny, what do you say?
As far as what was it again?
Nintendo and E3 and only having Zelda.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I don't. It's not really much to comment.
You don't care,
on.
dude. Just say you don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, you know. All I go back to is just the last time we saw this game, it was on a screen, you know?
Yeah.
And now we're actually going to get to see something. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like too little too late. If they announced this thing maybe last E3 and it was coming out, yeah, that would have made a lot more sense. But, you know, whatever. Sorry.
Brian, you don't care at all, do you?
Nope. Don't care.
Yes. All right, since that's the general consensus here as far as Nintendo's E3 plans, let's move on here. Okay, with the new Uncharted 4 installment coming out, what do you guys think about the criminal act which led to stolen copies of the game being sold on eBay? This happened in the UK, and buyers have already purchased them on eBay's site. Yeah, we were almost going to talk about, actually, no, we were going to talk about this on last Throwdown, but it became us, throwing shit at those BGST guys for spoiling the game for people. But yeah, that is pretty crazy, right? Like, they stole, like, physical copies of the game, and now they started selling them on eBay and stuff, you know? It's like, fuck, it sucks, but again, it's like, this type of shit will happen. Humans will be humans, you know?
Well, I mean, oh, sorry, Brett.
Oh, that was the beginning and the end of what I was saying. Just dicks.
Yeah, just a bunch
okay.
of dicks, basically, you know?
And I mean, I understand that people are going to want to rush to buy this game, but how come if they're selling it on eBay, there's no criminal investigation? I mean, they literally stole the game. Is there no way to trace where this is coming from? They have to open an eBay account. You have to set up something. I mean, I just find it odd that they're able to get away with this without anyone going, oh, this looks suspicious, and having the feds show up at your door.
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't know what they like. I mean, as far as your thoughts go, is like, what do they want us to say? Really, it's like, do they want us to go? They should find them and execute them.
Yeah, no, it's like people are gonna be people. If I could get a copy of Uncharted 4 early, then yeah, I would buy it. you know. But obviously, like I don't know where it comes from, but if it came from a stolen truck, yeah, it's fucking shady.
Yeah,
Obviously,
exactly. Yeah, basically we don't condone these things on Throwdown. It's fucked up.
Yep.
All right, moving on here. Last question from the dude. He goes, and I can't remember too much about this. What do you guys think about one of the gaming teams from the MLG being banned because their sponsor was Pornhub? And he goes, LOL, bitches and games. If bitches and games is what we need. And he goes, sorry if I offend anyone. Not offending anyone on Throwdown. We like bitches and games.
So they got kicked out because they didn't like their sponsor?
Apparently, I admittedly don't know too much about this, but apparently because they're that's kind of fucked up. Let's just be honest. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
That's seriously fucked up. Like that is the definition of censorship. Like, and I don't understand. Like, okay, MLG, like you don't have to put Pornhub commercials on your web streams or anything like that. That's just the company that's buying this guy's gear and he's wearing their stickers. Like, I don't. Like, you could make this statement that, like, hey, we can only advertise things on the show, that are 18 years and under, so you may be able to be sponsored by them, but you can't show their logo on any of our streams or anything like that. Like, the only place that you could actually say that you're sponsored by them would be your own goddamn website. Like, they could very easily censor the image, but to fucking do this is just, I don't know, it just feels like trying to punish somebody for doing something you don't agree with as opposed to not letting them do it.
yeah, it's like, was this like against the rules? I doubt it was. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. It's totally fucking censorship.
Well, I'd say, like, how are you going to take this ridiculous moral high road? It's like, oh, no, we can't have porn anywhere near MLG. Games where you blast each other to death,
Yeah.
that's fine. The violence, it's great. No. Pornography, no, we can't have it. No.
Yeah, it always goes back to that. Whenever we talk about these kind of subjects, it's like, when it comes to anything revolving around sex, oh no, the children, But then, like, oh, you're gonna blow somebody's head off? Go ahead. That's great. That's America. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with either of them.
Well,
No,
I know. I'm saying you can't take a moral high road on one
Yeah.
thing and then just have MLG is full of like every type of game, including very violent ones. So you can't just say, well, we draw the line at pornography. It's like, no, you can't have a line here. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You could say, like, yes, don't put Pornhub stickers on yourself or on your computer or anything and bring it in here. I can understand that, but you can't say you are banned because this is one of your sponsors because somebody in there got their panties in a bunch that these guys are getting sponsored by a porn site.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, Brian, what do you say about this?
Yeah, you guys have pretty much said everything that needs to be said. It's just all types of messed up. I mean, I just can't. Like, if this is true and what happens actually just is a thing, then that's just messed up because I'm pretty sure that is it Marlboro, that famous cigarette company with like the
Marlboro,
camel that
yeah.
smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they literally have like something that kills people and that's known to kill people, and that's a sponsor and that's fine. But yeah, some titties is like, oh no, that's not fine.
That's a
Something
great
that is
point.
literally, well, not 100% natural, but it's a natural part of life. It's like no, but yet things that literally kill you, like, oh yeah, it's fine, let's do that. It's like,
Yeah, and this is
I don't know.
this is a gaming forum, right? Like, look, we're not being serious here. Get off your moral high horse. Whoever has a problem with this, let's have a separation of church and games. Get the fuck out of here. Let these guys
Yes.
play and do whatever they want. If they want to get sponsored by ExxonMobil or whatever, you wouldn't have a problem with this. So don't have a problem with this guy with the Pornhub. This is ridiculous.
You know what I find the ultimate irony of this is that they're essentially saying we're having a series of competitive games where we simulate death, but the singular act of creating life, we can't even allude to that.
No nipples around here, man. Nipples are horrible.
there's only ending of life here. We don't begin that shit. We don't even talk about beginning that shit.
Oh man, Manny, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's kind of silly to ban somebody just for the sponsor, for the company that's being sponsored by. Now, Here's the question. Let's say they were being sponsored by some horrible racist company. That one seems a bit more, like a little bit more like, in other words, it's like the Skinhead Coalition or something like
The
that.
Skinhead Coalition, is that like the anti-version of our site?
Yes.
From a parallel dimension.
Yeah, I don't know. If I could condone something like that, where it's something like, it's like some sort of hate group or something like that that's sponsoring a game team, but just for a site like that site, Pornhub, I don't think so. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, especially if you're not looking at. They're not even like showing titties or anything. It's probably like a logo at most, Like was it black and like orange is their colors? It's like, who cares, dude?
Well, no, it was actually part of the contract that all participants had to be receiving fellatio the entire time they're gaming.
The whole time, man. There you go.
Made for good advertising, terrible scores.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Fern Gully. He actually has a little bit to say to us first before he gets to the question. He goes, "Hello, guys. I just wanted to say you guys are the shit. Every week you're all consistently bringing enthusiasm to the gaming world with these podcasts. I feel like I'm hanging out with the fellas when I listen." That goes for the co-op boys as well. Brett and Michael A. remind me of eloquent hulks when they go off on rants. Richard Bailey is like the Black Captain America. Tony is the heart and soul like Michael Pena on the Ant-Man. By the way, I love when you guys are on PGR. Keep up the good work. Not really, guys. It's just me. I've been on Post Game Report a couple of times with my homie Jose Bencourt. Shout out to him, and shout out to you, Ferngully, for the kind words as always, man. You know how we do things, man.
Yo, man, you forgetting a couple of folks.
Yeah, man.
Yo, man, Chris and me, we ain't nothing. Nah, I'm flying
yeah. Thank you for the support as always, man.
Definitely, man.
And I'm pretty sure next week he's gonna have some colorful things to say about the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Manny, you're the Stanley.
Yeah, Manny's the Stanley. Manny is Stanley. All right, so let's get to these questions. Since everybody feels that the PS Neo and Xbox One are royally screwing the early adopters, how then has the Nintendo DS, been getting a free pass and releases new iterations of the same console for over a decade now? Motherfuckers and they mama have no problem buying a new one, and even new games made for that bitch. That's a great point. Why?
That's like saying why is your cousin Daryl, who's constantly in and out of jail and huffing paint, not showing up to Thanksgiving this year? Like your perceptions of what he's going to do have become so low that you don't even fucking bother asking anymore.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Officially, they didn't get a free pass. People were pretty pissed about that.
Nah, dude, people were buying those shits in droves. Remember, every single time they came out with a new DS, people were fucking buying them like crazy. It's like, wait, what? Like, didn't you just buy a DS last year? It's like, no, but this one's bigger. This one has a bigger stylus. It's like, really?
Yeah. I got in whole arguments on Twitter, especially about the 2DS, where I'm like, look at this fucking toy. It looks like a piece of shit. And people are like, oh, no, this is great. I'm going to buy it because I really don't like 3D. I'm like, motherfucker, you have a slider that you could turn off on your 3DS.
Yeah.
So don't give me that you got to spend another $170 on this piece of shit.
I mean, they want that fucking doorstop, though, man.
It's just blind support. I fucking know.
But yeah, no, in general, it is kind of weird. And the 3DS, the 3DSs were pretty, like, weren't they around $300 or something? So it wasn't like it were cheap, and they were like every year too. You get a new DS.
So, Fergal, our answer is, unlike Nintendo fans, we are not huffing paint. We have more sense than that to question things.
Yes. Basically, what else do you guys say about this? Why is Nintendo getting the pass?
I don't know if they're given the pass. It's that they had their moment when they got scrutinized, and now just time has passed on. The real question is, why is it not acceptable for consoles to do it when pretty much everything else I can think of does something very similar? I mean, you think of TVs, you think of cars, most consumer products, they have multiple versions of it. To be fair,
yeah, I have an answer.
Phones do it, cars do it, TVs, refrigerators, toasters.
Well, cars do a lot of things that piss me off, right? Especially in America, because American franchise laws make no freaking sense.
Okay,
It's like No, so I don't know in England how you buy a car, right? But in America, you can only buy a Honda from like a Honda dealership unless you buy it used. Then you could go to like CarMax or whatever these other stores is. But I can't buy a Ford at a store, right? There's no car store here because we have stupid franchise laws. So imagine buying books like that. Imagine if I wanted a Tom Clancy book, I had to go to the Tom Clancy bookstore. Stupid.
Shit.
Our franchise laws are retarded, so I don't know. Cars get away with a lot of stuff here that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Brian, to answer your question, it's because it hasn't been done before. Consoles have always been, designed this way. They come out every 5 or 7 years, and we just haven't seen that. So, but going back to that though, because again, I was like, no, don't. This is horrible. This is horrible. But seeing how everything gets an iterative change, like every year or two, I'm not saying I endorse it. I'm just saying maybe we just need to accept it. This is just the way things are going to be now. Smartphones do this. Like you said, pretty much any electronic under the sun does this shit, except for consoles.
Here's the thing: consoles actually do it. They just don't say they're doing it.
Yeah, but they don't do it to like the extent apparently this is going to be done. And you're right. They do little adjustments every once in a while.
Yeah, like the later PlayStation 4s work a lot better than the first ones.
Yeah, like the slim and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are iterative changes and stuff, but they still basically had the same, like basically the same. The games ran exactly the same. They weren't any better. Now we're gonna get apparently better looking games, but I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, maybe we should just accept it for what it is. But that's not saying you should go out and buy them either. Like I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be good with my PS4 until the PS5 comes out, unless my PS4 breaks. That's the only way I'll get a PS Neo or whatever. But yeah, basically, the way Sony's doing it right now, where it's like, the games will run on every console. That's good. I think that's a good way of like leading people in. You know what I mean? And as long as you have the games be playable on every successive console, then it should be good. It's just like Manny, like the problem you were having with Republic, like you weren't able to play the game on like better iPods and stuff, right? Something like that.
I wasn't able to play it on the older iPods.
Yeah, so you gotta be careful about stuff like that. So yeah, basically, I've just resigned to the fact that this is just the way it's gonna be now. So why should I bother getting mad about something I can't? It's like, oh shit, there's a giant tide coming. Let me get mad. It's like, Tony, you can't stop the fucking tide. Just back off. Don't get wet.
The thing is that when it's because then it becomes the problem with it is just accepting it also means that you have to deal with. You don't need to accept it. You know what I mean?
Well, I accept it in the fact that, okay, I can't do anything about this, but I don't have to like it either.
Well, the thing is that you can do something about it. You just don't fucking buy it.
But that is what I'm doing. I'm not going to buy it. Simple as that. But I can't be like, oh, you guys are buying it. You guys are the problem. Blah, 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 blah. Like, there's no point doing that shit.
Like he's saying, don't like waste your frustration on the trend if the trend changes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're going to vote with your wallet, then that's what you have to do. We can't waste your anger going, things are changing, I'm mad. Like, it's going to happen. They don't care. Microsoft doesn't care.
Exactly. It's going to happen regardless, whether you bitch it or not. So, fuck it. Save your energy for something else, All right, next question here. Okay. Would you say just based on the trailers alone, Captain America: Civil War is better than Batman vs Superman? That's a gimme question, man. Of course, man. The fucking trailers for this movie are way better than Batman vs Superman. I know that's kind of unfair, but let's just be real. I've enjoyed those trailers far more than what we had, like 6 minutes worth of trailers altogether. I've enjoyed those far more than the 2.5 hours of a fucking Batman Superman movie.
Yeah, the only Batman Superman trailer that I thought was exciting was when they actually showed Batman fighting, which was actually the best part of that freaking movie. The movie's a mess.
Yeah, so, he's asking us to compare the Civil War trailers to the Batman Superman movie.
The entire movie? I tell you, I just watched the part of the trailer with. I just see Captain America drop kicking a guy into a building, and that to me is way more satisfying than anything that happened in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, the entirety of it.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Batman Superman trailers is they all literally dropped all their cars on the second one.
Yeah.
They just showed their hand.
Yo, man, we got Doomsday. Come see the movie.
that friggin' trailer just gave away everything, and you knew what the movie was about at that point.
They wouldn't have made things any better though, because we would have went in there blind like, why the fuck is Doomsday in this shit? At least the trailer lessened the blow. Welcome to your doomsday. Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a fucking horribly spot on impression.
Oh man.
Oh man.
All right, Brett. What's your answer to this?
I'm sorry. What was the question again? I completely knocked all sense of the question right out of my head.
My bad. Lex Luthor was so terrible in that fucking.
Welcome to your doomsday.
Welcome to your doomsday. Oh, okay. Anyway, the question was.
Boys. I broke Tony.
Oh man.
I don't even know the question anymore. Anyway, okay, did you enjoy the Civil War trailers more than the Batman Superman movie?
Yes. Yeah. I enjoy a day in a hot car and no air conditioning more than I enjoyed that movie.
Brett would.
I enjoy gas station tuna fish sandwiches more than I enjoyed that movie.
Oh God.
You know what? You know what the highlight of seeing Batman Superman for me was?
Leaving?
Seeing the Captain America Civil War
Yes, the trailer.
Damn.
trailer.
No, man. It was Batman. That Batman movie that they showed before, that Lego Batman movie. That was the highlight of the whole.
That was also the second highlight. That is
See
probably
Lego
going to be
Batman.
the greatest Batman movie ever made. Recently.
Oh.
Batman versus Superman. That's like the movie equivalent of like getting your dick hammered or something. It's like literally with a hammer. Put your dick on a table and just bash it with a hammer. That's the movie equivalent of that. Not enjoyable. But I'm pretty sure there are some crazy people who would enjoy that. Whatever your fetish is, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, moving on here. Last question.
Oh, you didn't ask me.
Man, we know your answer, Brian. But go ahead. Come up with something witty then.
Oh yeah, I will. I am jaded because I've seen the film, so I can't answer that question.
Thing about Brian from 72 hours ago. How about that?
72 hours ago doesn't exist. That film changes everything.
There's life before Civil War and life after Civil War.
It changed everything.
War has changed.
Civil War has changed.
Yeah. I would definitely agree. Civil War trailers were just much more enjoyable to watch. That's one thing that you can't just get around. I mean, the first one was really cool. It really shown a lot of good aspects. And then of course, I think it was the second one that had Spider-Man. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it was the third one that had Spider-Man.
Yeah. When they dropped Spider-Man, then they had everyone in the palm of their hands. So yeah, I mean Batman v Superman. They had that one scene when Superman's flying down and Batman's just looking at him, and then that was oh no, it's about to go down. But then everything after that was kind of because then they're showing Wonder Woman, and then they're showing Doomsday, and everyone was sighing why? But yet with Civil War, no one really questioned why. No one really said, oh, why is Spider-Man in this movie? Or why is War Machine in this movie? No one really questioned that. They were yes, Spider-Man's in this movie, War Machine's in this movie, Ant-Man's in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
Can't say anything else.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, since we're talking about Civil War, I'm seeing this on Twitter right now. Captain America Civil War has opened 200 million internationally.
Damn.
It's fucking insane.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
Wow. Man.
That's all you just say.
Yes, don't spoil it.
You guys will lose your shit. I know Tony will lose his shit in one particular place. I know you will, because I know you, Tony, and there's one scene that you lose your shit.
Man, I'm losing my shit already, man.
All of you guys will lose your shit at one particular scene, because I lost my shit. I never lose my shit. I'm always cool and calm, collected. Yeah. When I seen that, I was like, oh, that's the thing! The thing! Well, not the thing, but you know what I mean? It's
yeah, that Benjamin J. Grimm, you know?
No, it wasn't him. It was that's the thing from the things, and that's all I can say really. But yeah,
I'm gonna translate what you just said. You said I'm always calm, cool, and collected. You mean you're always British, right? All right, let's move on here. This is an interesting question. How many iterations of the 360 came out after the OG version with the VGA port? He goes, remember how some said VGA is all that's needed? HDMI is way too early. Don't know what Sony's thinking. All right, so yeah, I don't. Yeah, VGA. I kind of don't understand this question too much. Like, how many versions of the Xbox came out with the VGA support? So they didn't have the HDMI from the get up, right?
No, they didn't.
Yeah. Oh, he also goes. He goes. By the way, I know many guys who gladly went out and bought the HDMI version when they found out it was on there. Okay, so there you go.
I'm trying to remember which versions they were, but again, they all came out like very quickly, and I'm assuming that they must have had at least 5 different versions, because I know that there was one like that had like the memory cards, and then they had the one with like the hard drives, and then they had the slim ones and all sorts. So they had a lot of different 360s come out.
Yeah, I don't really exactly know how to answer this one because like you said, there's been a ton of them.
Yeah. I don't know how many. Wikipedia is probably the best bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we could add much more to that one.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Phantom Vash. Do you believe more developers will follow Team Ninja and give console players the option of selecting how they want the game to perform by giving the option to pick the game's resolution and frame rate settings? He's talking about Neo specifically. The Neo demo lets you choose between do you want more frame rates or do you want better resolution, shit like that. I think so. Again, consoles are becoming more like PCs every day, right? So I guess it's just another step to it. It gives people that much more of an option. Instead of just locking it to one thing, you could choose what you want. But the thing is, won't all this kind of be negated when the PS4 Neo comes out? Because every game will be 60 frames, 1080p. Damn it, I don't know how to answer this shit. Think about it. It's like, yeah, with the PS4 Neo coming out, and the Xbox, I'm calling the Xbox 2. With the Xbox 2 coming out, you're not really gonna need that anymore. It's like, do you want to go? Oh, okay, I want this to be 720p so I can play at 90 frames a second. I don't know if we're gonna get to that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you hit it on the head in the beginning. I mean, even PCs now, you can choose your resolution and frame rate and effects on there. So I don't see why they would. More developers wouldn't do it on the consoles.
Yeah.
It's always better to have more options. Even as you could have the most powerful PC now, you could have a JGON quality PC,
Yeah.
and you'll still have sliders and things. You could change resolution, add and remove effects and all that shit. So I don't see why they wouldn't do that. Even with PlayStation Neo is not that much more powerful than the PlayStation 4, so I don't think they're going to be like, we could guarantee 60 frames a second. I would need to see that to believe it. So
yeah, for sure. Brian, you played Neo. What do you say about this?
What was the question again?
The question was, okay, because Neo lets you choose your, do you want better frame rate or better resolution? Do you think more console games are going to offer that in the future?
I'm not too sure. Purely because I think that's more of like a developer option than anything else, and it seems like it's something that they would have had choose at the start of development and then work towards, or work in mind with, saying, okay, we're going to have it run 2 different versions, so keep that in mind. I think that they all should, because it definitely is a lot better, because I tried to play it in the cinema mode and I just couldn't do it. It just felt very unresponsive. But then when I put it to action mode, it just seemed just fly. So they definitely should do it, because it definitely is a lot better, and it definitely works with a lot more games, in my opinion.
Wait, so action mode is 60 frames, and I'm guessing cinema mode is 30, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you can't just adjust it your own. You have to pick one of those 2 options then.
Yep, it literally is just a menu saying action mode or cinema mode, and that's it.
I gotcha. Very interesting. Brett, what do you say about this?
I don't particularly care all that much, to be honest.
Yo, man, it's the game play good. That's all you care about, right?
Uh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Brett, are you playing Dark Souls 3, by the way?
Of course I am.
Motherfucker, that's why you're so quiet tonight. I knew it.
No, it's just, honestly, it's. We've pretty much touched on everything, and I don't really care. I've talked a few times about how I think the real joy of the whole console architecture is the proprietary system and the fact that it can lead to level playing fields and a common experience. I think we're trying to parse down and turn video games or turn consoles into computers, and I think we're all kind of losing track of what makes the platform unique. And it's more than just the fact that, like, oh, all the consoles are running at the same speeds. It's an open system, and I'm hesitant to see developers then developing for 12 different iterations of consoles, because then we're going to lose the kind of edge or what consoles have going for them, which is ease of development.
Yeah. No,
so quite frankly, when it comes down to, like, oh, let's have 30 different iterations of consoles, like, I could honestly give a fuck. So,
hey, Brian,
does that answer the question more?
Yeah,
I'm trying not to cop out here.
No,
I just honestly don't care.
Hey, Brian, did you catch that little faux pas he just pulled? Okay, just making sure.
I was hoping that the pause was him going to, like, correct himself, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it's all good.
What'd I say? What'd I do?
You said you could care less. Brian,
oh, sorry.
Oh, by the way, if you guys were, like, listening to Brett and you saw my little face there squinting, it's because I saw how much Ratchet and Clank made over the weekend.
How much?
4.7 million total.
Oh,
that's bad.
No, it's unfortunate, but it's the ratings. I mean, the movie. From what I've read a couple of reviews on it. The movie is not bad, but it's also not great. You know what I mean? It's like it's Ratchet and Clank with all of its teeth pulled out.
Yeah,
man. They say as far as adaptations, a lot of as far as some of the like some places said, as who knew both the game and the movie, they said as far as adaptations go, it's actually a pretty decent adaptation of it.
Yeah, but I think it's just the story itself. It works really well for a video game. For a movie, it's kind of standard. It's like, hey, this guy's trying to destroy the galaxy. Go stop him.
It's essentially Star Wars. It's like basically. Little kid, little guy on a planet, who wants to be something better. He wants to be like his hero. Stuff like that.
Yeah, standard stuff. All right, moving on here. Okay, this is a good one. Thank you for asking this one. What are your thoughts on the rumor that Sony is developing a Spider-Man game for the PS4, and the other rumor that Sucker Punch could possibly be the team developing it? Okay, so let's bring that. So the rumor says that there is a PlayStation 4 exclusive Spider-Man game in the works, and the other rumor is that Sucker Punch, guys who make Infamous, are working on it.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
that would be probably cool. Means it's not true. Yeah, because that just sounds too good.
It would be amazing, spectacular, superior, all that shit, Yeah.
The first Infamous, especially the first Infamous, like the locomotion around the world was actually pretty good. I don't know why after that it seemed to get, I don't know, more homogenized but less fun. Did anybody else feel that way?
I disagree with you that the traversal in Infamous 1 was good. It was fucking great. Dude, that game, I was like, the whole city was open to me. I could go anywhere, turn at the dime and stuff. And even the controls in that game were just so fucking good. You're right about that. Each Infamous game after that has not, control-wise, been as good as the first one, which is odd. You figure they get better, Like,
yeah.
With Infamous 1, you get to that point where you don't even feel you have a controller in your hand. You're controlling with your mind. That's how flawless the controls were. They never got in your way at all. You became one with the controls, But after that, there's been that clunkiness. And traversing the city was just so much fun. It didn't feel like, even in the last Infamous game, it kind of felt like a hassle. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to, use the fast travel because I don't want to deal with traversing the city. With Infamous 1, if you had fast travel, I would not have used that shit. I'm like, nope, I'm taking the scenic ride because this is fucking fun.
Dude, Infamous 1 made me feel the way that I did when I first played Tony Hawk.
Oh, Tony Hawk. Ooh, interesting. Hey, Manny, you're home.
Welcome, I have returned. Look, there's two of me.
Yes.
Not the other me.
Brad, expand on the Tony Hawk thing. Very interesting.
I don't know, like just the fun of Tony Hawk was the doing. It wasn't being like, oh, I'm gonna beat this level to get the next skate deck or unlock a new song or anything like that. It was just I'm gonna try and rack up as many points and do the craziest thing as possible. Like Infamous was one of those things where I had fun moving from point A to point B and leaping off a building and falling down and hitting power lines and skirting 30 miles an hour and then flying off when I see a group of baddies for no other reason than I want to shove grenades in their face and watch them explode.
Yeah.
Like I went out of my way, like. It's kind of the same thing I did in Dark Souls. Like I see something and I want to fight it, not because I have a reason that I want to fight it, just because flying out of the air and slamming down on somebody in a superhero landing full of electricity is just fucking satisfying. You don't need to reward me for it. It's just doing it is the reward, and it's when you see a lack of a Pavlovian response, like I don't have to do this because I'm going for platinum or because I'm getting a special item or because he may drop something that I'm trying to farm. I'm doing it just because it's fun, and that's the hallmark of a good experience right there, in my opinion.
Yeah. So yeah. So imagine that talent in a Spider-Man game. That'd be pretty sweet, man. Because we haven't had a really good Spider-Man game in a long fucking time.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Maybe what do you say about Sucker Punch doing Spider-Man?
I mean, that sounds cool to me. I mean, that's the first thing I said when I heard of Infamous.
Or you were like, hey, Spider-Man.
I mean, he literally was moving like fucking Spider-Man up the walls and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to some extent. Yeah, I agree with that. Right. I guess we don't have any other answer than, yeah, that would be awesome. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, pretty much just yes, please.
Yes.
And I mean, and they can do, the guys at Sucker Punch can do a fun comical, story. Here's the thing: I'd like to see the one thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see it based on the movie or whatever movie's coming. I just want them to make that game.
Yeah,
make their Spider-Man game.
Exactly. Yeah.
You may change your mind after Civil War.
Well, we don't need a Civil War adaptation,
In terms of Spider-Man.
Okay.
If they do a game based on Spider-Man from Civil War, I have zero problems with that.
Oh no, that's fine. It's just don't base it on a movie story. It's like do your own thing,
Hey, listen, Sucker Punch has shown that they can make a game based on a movie and make it way better than the movie.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Next question here. Hey Brian, this is for you since you weren't here last week to answer it. Will you be going to the EA Play event in London?
The EA Play event?
So I guess you didn't even know about it. I love how Fan of Ash knows shit we don't know. Like pathetic.
EA Play. I will definitely be looking into it now. Actually.
Yeah, that sounds like an industry event, by the way. So we mean to get you in with coalition credentials.
Well, that's what I mean by I may have to get into it.
Yeah,
that's how I get into most things. Like, oh, this event is happening. Coalition. There we go, and I'm in.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it now that I know about it, because I'm assuming that they'll also, because I heard that there's going to be a Battlefield event going on soon, where probably they'll reveal the new Battlefield. So if there is going to be some sort of EA Play event, then I would assume that Battlefield will most likely be playable there.
Yeah,
again,
for sure.
All based on an assumption, but just how things go, that's probably what will happen.
All right. And the last question here by Mr. Fan of Action, the last question in general, here's a fun one. He goes, what happens first? Half-Life 3 releases, PSN name change finally becomes a feature, or Nintendo becomes a third-party publisher? I'm going to go...
We all ascended beings of pure light.
None of this... I'm going to say PSN name will probably realistically happen out of all these. Half-Life 3 is never going to come, And Nintendo, even though I've been saying they should become a third-party publisher, they probably won't because they're so fucking thick-headed and up their ass that they won't listen to reason, So I'm going to go with PlayStation name change. That probably won't be happening either.
I'm going to hold my breath for Half-Life 3.
Really?
Because now that Steam VR or Hive VR or whatever it is you want to call it is out now, like, I do believe that Valve will be trying something new with VR and Half-Life 3. That's my thought. So it's Half-Life 3. Like one, it's like they have to finish off the story. That's one thing that they have to do. So they owe us at least that much, to be fair.
Do they have to do it though? Do they owe
Well,
anybody
well,
anything?
it's like they've created like one of the best stories in video games, and they've left it like halfway open. So they owe us to at least complete the story somehow. So whether or not that comes in like a game or just a short story or something, then yeah. But it wouldn't make much sense for them not to do it in a game because the game works and everyone loves the game. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just my thoughts. PlayStation name change, I don't think they'll do it probably because of how PlayStation Network is built. I'm not saying that I know it or I understand it, but I'm assuming that they built it and they didn't have that in mind. So it will take a lot of JRigging to do so.
Can't
And
you
that's
do
why
it
they haven't done it.
Can't you do it in the UK?
No, you can't. It's not.
I know
not-
one
yeah.
company, I know one area has that ability. Is it Japan?
I have no idea.
Not on
It's
PSN.
definitely not here.
Yeah, not for PSN at all, dude. But people are still bitching about it.
But then it's like there's like actually like a serious amount of work that needs to like go in to do that, because there's all this stuff about like how do you like preserve someone in terms of, let's say that Tony were to change his name to something, and then someone were to take over Tony's name as Romudeth, like would Tony have any powers over the Romudeth name,
Well,
or will
my
he
question
not?
is, how is this like how does this work on Xbox? Because they allow you to name change. You know, how do they get around that?
If I'm assuming it's anything like Steam, like you have your account name, and then you have like your alias, which is what is shown,
Yeah.
and that's essentially like what you change. So your account name in the back still stays the same regardless of what your alias is. It's just that in most times your alias is what your account name is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with Brian. I think that Sony didn't think about that. So your account name and your alias is the same thing, and that's why they don't allow you to change it.
Yeah.
They would have to expand it to have like a unique ID, something else that's not tied to the account name, so you could change it. Microsoft was smart about it, and then they charge you for it.
Yeah. Oh man. Chris, what do you say? Which one of these comes to fruition first?
I'll agree with Brian and say Half-Life 3 most likely will be first. Like I think Valve is either working on it or wants or it has a concept or something to work on. I don't know if Sony, if they haven't added this by now, like people have been asking for the name change for 7 years or 8 years. Like if we haven't gotten it by now, and in this gen of PS4 when they expanded PSN, they could have added it and they didn't. Then I don't see that being likely in the near future. And Nintendo will drag everyone from Donkey Kong to Little Mac to their graves with them. They'll end up on mobile phones, so that won't happen. So more than likely, Half-Life 3 would be the thing that happens.
Yeah, and plus, Chris, you're forgetting about like the $5 billion that Nintendo has in the bank.
Yes.
So they won't be going down anytime soon, Chris.
Oh no, because 2 + 2 is 4, especially in business.
Yeah, right.
It's exactly how it works. Stocks are like
man.
piggy banks; you just crack them open.
By the way, we're all saying that Half-Life 3 is going to be more likely. That's bad, dude.
But then at the same time, like we did get the Final Fantasy VII remake last year, or the announcement, and also Shenmue 3, and also The Last Guardian. So these things are possible.
Yeah, that's also true.
Whether or not they'll happen, it's another story. But they have happened before.
Remakes happen. Half-Life 3 doesn't necessarily happen.
Shenmue 3 happened.
Yeah, well, I still see that happening before Half-Life 3. At this point,
But
like
it's
I
still like
think
one of
that
those things that people who are just saying, okay, you know what, we need another Shenmue, and it just wasn't happening. We're getting like tons of Yakuza games, and then out of the blue, boom, Shenmue. Yeah.
Right, Brett, go on, man. Since you don't think Half-Life 3 is happening, which one of these will happen then?
I think it'll be the PSN name change.
Yeah, because we definitely don't see Nintendo going third party.
No, taking that one.
Nintendo will not go third party just to spite us.
Yes. Even though they damn well should, but Nintendo was going to be
It'll look like
Nintendo.
the end of Drag Me to Hell. That's their, but that's them pulling the hands pulling all their properties with them into the abyss.
Oh, man. Manny, what do you say?
Half-Life's the most likely to
Yeah.
me.
All right, so either Half-Life or... Yeah, see, either Half-Life or fucking PSN name. No one's thinking Nintendo's going to go third party.
No, they have too much hubris for that shit.
Exactly.
Exactly what Chris said. They'll go mobile before they do that.
Yeah, now ask us which one we think should happen first.
Yeah. Oh, see? We're going to give you very different answers. You know, like I've been saying for years, Nintendo should go fucking third party. Stop with this nonsense. You know? But that ain't happening. What do you guys say? What should happen out of all these?
Oh, Nintendo should go third party.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get unanimous consensus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, definitely.
Why don't you just buy a Nintendo console, man? Shut up.
See, as much as I want to say Nintendo should go third party, like I've never been a Nintendo fan, so Nintendo can die for all they want, and I won't really cry that much.
Yes.
So that's why I can't say that answer. So, and my issue with Half-Life 3 is essentially I was watching a video of like the top 10 most hyped games that turned out to be terrible. So I guess that my biggest worry with Half-Life 3 is that it turned out to be like Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh,
in that
shit.
it takes too long to come out, and then when it is out, it's just terrible. So I guess the PlayStation name change.
I didn't think about it that way. That's crazy. Game's been waiting for like fucking over a decade. Comes out of this shit. You know, that'd be bad. You know, it's like maybe you shouldn't have made it. Maybe you should have just kept us waiting forever. It would have been preferable to this. You know, we build up the idea of the great game in our heads, you know, instead of the actual bullshit we actually got. Oh man. All right, so that's pretty much it for this show. Thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comments section on Coalition or on YouTube. We can answer them on next week's show. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Also, help support the site by donating to our Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and the YouTubes. Remember to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco and joined by Emilio Lopez.
Yeah, man, look at me. I'm in video now. Okay. Later,
Chris
guys.
Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Brett Murdoch.
It's been real.
And Brian Civil War Manjoma.
I'm going to watch Civil War again tomorrow.
You
So
son of
yeah,
a bitch.
that's the thing. It is that good.
Oh, man.
Want your civil wow.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Throwdown 83 later.
Later, people.
Deuces.